The trades that we took yesterday was awesome, and I'll show you a trade I actually missed out. It was a crypto trade. Then we'll look at the market today, analyze it, some we'll analyze it, and you tell me the coins you want me to look at, or the crypto, or the forex pair you want me to look at, and we end it. So I want to keep this under 1 hour. So maybe my analysis is going to take like, say, 30, 45 minutes. We should have done this live on Monday, but I wasn't available, but it's all right. Today is good. Today is also good. So I'm going to share my screen right away, and we'll start. Mark coin number, I see you. So let's trade. So yesterday, weekly, we actually meant to look at the dollar index, but I don't want to get into the dollar index today. But dollar index actually help you to really trade, especially if you're trading euro and euro USD. Euro USD, I see, is a forex pair I found most success with. That's where I've had most of my winnings. Well, I'm not going to look at the euro US. I mean, the dollar index today. We'll just dive straight into euro USD. So this is a trade we took yesterday. I was expecting a 6.6 return on this particular trade. We didn't get that. The maximum that this trade got is 4.87. I think I took my profit around 4.3 something. And currently I'm out of this trade. I was looking for a second entry here. So this movement from here upward, but I can say I didn't get it, and it didn't just still go the way I wanted to go. All right. Let's look at another. The trade I would say I missed yesterday is this particular Ethereum trade. So let me explain this to you. This is what I was expecting. You guys know the way I trade, right? So we had in the higher time frame, we're having this region as a demand zone. So I was expecting a tap into the demand zone and a movement upward. But then again, we're expecting a confirmation setting. If you're in the group, Discord group, you understand what I mean by confirmation. And we had this confirmation here. So let's look at it. We had a confirmation, okay, down into the zone, up, it made a low, then a high. So I was expecting a tap into this zone, into this order block here. I want to be sure that you can see it well. So I was expecting a tap, and make this bigger. Expecting a tap into this particular order block here, this one. That is why I placed my entry at the beginning, and I waited for a trade, but this didn't come to the entry. But then again, if you look here, I'm just showing you why I missed this trade. You can see a break of structure here. A break of structure here. So I expected a tap here because of the fair value gap here. We didn't get that, but then we had a break of structure here. So this movement broke structure. Because the reason is that because we have this low, this is actually a low, then when I have a high breaking structure, so the whole of this range we have here was broken by this movement. So this makes this the order block. But like I said, for crypto, I like to take the whole range because sometimes, in most cases, it doesn't just come down to that single order block. So this will have been the whole of this will have been my order block, and this will have been the trade. But I think I wasn't looking, or I was with something else, and we had a tap in. So this first one is a 3.44 risk reward. This one targeting the same region because I was targeting this high here before this order block will have still been a 3.3 and 133 risk reward. Crypto actually moved the same way because another trade I would have taken but didn't give me, wasn't as clear as Ethereum, was BNB. So BNB, I didn't take this trade because I drew the same thing as well. We have this didn't get to the zone, but we had a break of structure here, and I'm expecting to enter this trade from this very point. It didn't come. This move upward did not break this up to this point that I would have wanted to be able to take the trade here. This actually came down to the zone. So this is a similar movement, but it didn't give the exact flow of price action that I wanted. But Ethereum did give that. Bitcoin had a similar move yesterday. You can see we're ranging. We came here, we tapped high, low. It's the high here didn't, present what I wanted, and we had a tap back in and we moved upwards. So trading can be simple if you just follow this rule. You may want to look at a group of assets to see the one that just follows your particular trading plan. So this was yesterday. Another trade I took was this particular trade here. Then one I didn't take is gold. So this is what I was expecting for gold. I was expecting a movement downward from here. I was expecting first a downward movement into this demand zone, 30 minutes demand zone, then a movement upward and possible movement downward. But we can see the move upward first. But we're going to analyze to see where it can possibly go from here. So that said, let's go back straight to Euro USD, analyze it. We'll start from the higher time frame, move down to the lower time frame, and look at some few other assets. Hope that is good. So next week we do this on Monday, the live on Monday. I hope I don't miss it because this one day I missed it. So Euro USD, we're gonna start from. I usually start my week from the weekly time frame. I did that yesterday, so I'm not gonna go back to it because I marked some. Actually marked some area, but we're just gonna go straight to the daily time frame. We'll start our analysis then. So in daily time frame, we've had a breakout structure to the downside. We marked this like some weeks back, and this is breakout structure, which means that we're expecting this market to actually come down here. So the market is trying to hit this particular point, and again, it might actually go higher. I doubt if this is going to hold, but it is not what I'm concerned with now. I'm just concerned with where will this get to. We want to trade to the point it gets to, then when it gets there, we'll decide what to do. We can only react or respond based on what the market is doing. It can actually tell it what to do, basically. So I'm going to go down straight to the 4 hour time frame to see. So on the 4 hour time frame, you can see I marked my demand and supply zone. This is a demand zone. Why? Because it has a fair value gap. We have another demand zone here. And the market has been moving inside here. So this is the first break of structure here. externally on the higher time frame. And the 4 hours, we had a break here, which flowed. The market came down to respect it, moved, broke structure, but now it has moved down. I think this should be a news um, candle here. This should be a new candle here. So what is it trying to do here? There are the possible places this can go to is one is this demand here, this particular demand. Let me mark it out. But this demand has been taken. So this candle has respected this demand. The next possible place is this one, this particular demand here. The next possible place is this demand below here. And if you look at both, you have this demand up, this supply up rather. You have another supply up here. Here. So you have, these are the possible zones the candle is expected, the market is expected to go to. So how then do we determine where it's going to go to from here? Because this is when we start looking at breakout structure to determine where it's meant to go to. If you look above here, this particular move, this is a high. This particular move didn't break structure. This is called a liquidity sweep because the body of the candle did not close above this. So this didn't break structure. If you look below as well, we have not had a breakout structure to the downside. So we cannot say it's going to come down to here or go up to here looking at this time frame, because to know the direction it's going to go to, you look for a breakout structure, you look for where the last move is coming from. Is it coming from a no man's land, or is it coming from a demand or support zone? So as it stands now, our trading is just between, I'll say our trade is just between here, this particular point here. We're looking at, this is the last demand we have here, supply rather, and around here. So I'm going to investigate when we go lower to see what we have. So, but this is at the point we're going to look at for a day trade today. Knowing that, we'll move straight to the 1 hour time frame. So see what can we investigate. So within this now, are we going to have a breakout structure? Mind you, this last move came from a point, from a demand zone, and it did not hit a supply zone. Now, if you look further inside here, I think I'm just going to remove this. I'm going to remove this yesterday's trade. To make the chart cleaner, always try to make your chart clean. Remove all the unnecessary things. If you look at this, this should be a lower time frame order block. On this particular time frame, this 1 hour time frame, okay, I'm going to remove this. Okay, this has actually been honored actually. So on this, from here down here is our zone. So what is the price action? Can this thing move up from here? Even though usually when you have a liquidity sweep, the market goes the other way and just doesn't respect the demand zone you have here. But on this particular, so we're going to investigate here to see if is this market going to respect this zone we have here. And the way we know is, are we going to have a confirmation setting, a confirmation and entry, or a confirmation pattern rather. So we're going to investigate here. Are we going to see a confirmation pattern here, on the lower time frame. So I'm talking about 15 minutes, even up to the 5 minutes. Then we can say this is going to hold because we are just in the last phase of the other block and we don't have a break of structure here. If you have a break of structure here, a proper one, then it's more likely this is going to move up. We don't have it here. What we have is a sweep, several sweeps, meaning that sellers are actually very strong at this point. We also have a confirmation, a kind of from the stochastic RSI on the 1 hour. It's kind of supporting a movement up, especially, but it's not getting to 20 anyway, but supporting a movement up. So that said, what we're going to do is now, we now know that, okay, our action is going to be based on what happens here. If it breaks lower, because this zone we have here, let me use the other one. What we have here is all efficient movement, efficient price action. So if price breaks into this zone, it's going to break through. So the way it stands, why we need a confirmation is this. If price breaks out of this zone, then my target is going to be here. Let me tell you what I mean. If price breaks out of this zone, then there's nothing to support it going up. Then I have my orientation will be that it's going to come down to this next demand zone. But if price just doesn't break out of this zone, I want to see a confirmation pattern. So we have to enter the market at this point. When it has broken down, broken up, and the next breakdown, I want to take it to go up. So that is what we want to look for in the lower time frame, which is the 15 minutes now. So from my charts, what you see is usually this. So we have my session usually appears, and the way I set mine, this is the Asian session. We are actually out of the Asian session. We are still in the Asian session, but from the way I set my own, we are out. Oh, we're meant to be out by 7. So I think my setting, hold on. Oh, no, not yet. So I like this to be 7. So we're not out. We should be out in a few minutes. So London actually starts by 8. So what usually happen is the candle sweeps Asian low and Asian high. What do I mean? If you look at this is yesterday, went down and swept the low and went up and swept the high. That usually happens with Asian session. If you have an order block in the Asian session, it's usually not respected. Other blocks are more respected in London and New York, but usually in Asian, it's always swept. So what this is telling me is that, so we have a low here in the Asian session, the market is here. The market might likely go down to sweep Asian even more, then come up. Once this happens, let me remove this. Once this happens, then I am looking for a supply zone, a demand zone here rather. That is where then I'm looking for a supply zone here. That is where I'm interested in trading, in taking an entry to at least this particular point. So this is 6:53 in Nigerian and West African time. So in the next 7 minutes, I'll know that, okay, based on my settings, I'm out of the Asian session. And it is a liquidity sweep here, and the market goes up this way, then I want to look for an entry here to take it higher. at least to sweep. It's going to sweep again. If it does this and comes down for an entry, it's going to sweep the Asian high. And if it sweep the Asian high, the next order block is around here. You can see this order block here, which is a supply zone. So this is likely my target, but we'll have to wait, be patient for this to happen. If this doesn't happen and we sweep Asian low and go below this here, then the orientation is going to change to the downside. So it's going to change to the downside. Hope that is clear. So that is just a simple way you look at Euro USD. But before we go ahead, let's go to Forex Factory. The thing with Forex, I'm going to release a video on synthetic indices with Deriv. I had someone that's been trading on Deriv for the past 5 years, and I'll actually feature him in that video. He's coming with a lot of strategies used to trade Deriv. One reason he likes trading synthetic indices is because it doesn't is devoid of news, right? News does not affect it. I don't trade it, but I collaborate with him. I'm going to collaborate with him on that video. But let's look at Forex Factory to know if we have any news. So today is Wednesday. There is no news. So today we're trading purely price action, which is good. So this is my analysis for Euro USD. The brother of this is actually GBP USD. So look at it and we'll look at gold. Okay, is GBP USD. They follow almost the same pattern. I didn't trade it yesterday because this is where I'm expecting a reaction from. But before that, let's just go to the 4 hours first. Okay, so we are on the 4 hour. The same thing I say, you can see that here we have a supply zone. In case you are watching me for attending this for the first time, how do I need a supply zone? We have this particular, where are you? So you have a fair value gap just before that. So this tells me that, okay, this is my supply zone. Okay, you can see the market came into it, tapped into it. This is actually a new candle, but it came and still respected that supply zone. And from there, we have been coming down. What is the next supply zone we're having? We have, what is the next zone below it? So we have this one. This particular one here is the next zone. It's a demand zone. So the market can come here and reverse. But I am I will want a confirmation here because I see it that it might not hold. That is why I want a confirmation. The next one is this one. And the next one is this one. So I want to trade from any of these points, any of this region. I want a confirmation. Hope that makes sense. So if we look at GBP USD, the way we look at this, so mind you, it's not as if you look at GBP and you must trade it, right? Just like I looked at GBP and Euro yesterday, and Euro gave me the best setup. I traded only Euro, I left GBP. So some days you might not see the entry you want, the setup you want properly. I might want to just say, okay, I'm going to GBP to trade GBP instead of Euro USD, or maybe Bitcoin, or maybe USD JPY. These are other stuff. Okay, still on the 4 hours. So I'm looking at here, from here to here. At this point, we are basically in no man's land, right? So when I say a candle moves from no man's land, it simply means that we have a large candle stick here. So sellers Buyers were buying, um, nobody was selling. That's why they kind of moved this high. So any movement upward here is coming from no man's land, right? So we ideally want it to come from an order block, because if it moves from a no man's land, it's likely going to come back and just disrespect it or not respect it. So generally, you generally want to target demand and supply zones, and you want to look at break of structure as well. So if we look at this, the movement downwards, right? So we have a tiny break of structure here, but I'm just going to move it down to this particular point. So this is one reason why I'm saying this might not hold. So we had, even though I want this is a candle body close, even though I really want it to be more than this, but we'll have a break of structure to the downside. So that is why I'm saying that a chart, you will even see more places. Like I said, this area, they are all efficient price actions, right? Until we get to um, this zone. So this zone gives me another block here that is open. So possibly this is not going to happen. The reason I say this because we want the supply or demand zone that broke structure to be respected. This one we see here that we marked out earlier, there's no structure broken, right? But this one we have here, this one actually had a break of structure. So this movement we have downwards, this particular movement here, downward, broke this. Okay, so what is more likely to happen is this happens. So movement upwards into this zone, then we can start taking it down here. So that would be a possible, that would be my possible setup for a trade. Okay, so that would be a possible movement is to target here. Mind you, if you see a reason to trade this up to this point before taking it down, then we can take a trade up. But if we don't see, just have a patience to wait for it to trade up to this point. So possibly this will be um, a possible trade from here this way down to this point. So just target demand zone. I said this might not be respected, but When you're targeting, you just target it. Given a 3.77. When I trade, I always try to aim for a minimum of 3 hours. So this is what I'll be looking at. Now, but we're not done. We're going to move down to the 15 minutes time frame to see. So on the 15 minutes, I'm still going to look at Asia. So the same thing that happened yesterday. So we'll have Asian liquidity was taken from the downside. We'll move up and took it again, but I didn't trade this. If you look at the previous day, the same thing happened. We took Asia, right? I'll move down and took it. So we always sweep, not always, but a lot of the time we sweep Asian high and low. So just the way I talked about um, the other candle, the Euro USD. So let's look at this particular one because we now know the general movement we expect price to go to. People say they can't hear me. Somebody say I can't hear you. Damien, can I be heard? So if you can hear me, just go to the comment and say, Jude, I can hear you. Because Damien says he can't hear me. If you can hear me, go to the comment and say, Jude, I can hear you. Okay, I can be heard. So maybe Damien, check your check. So if you look at this, in the 15 minutes, I'm looking at a demand zone here. The whole of this is a demand zone, right? And I am seeing Asian low formed here. Let me refresh this and be sure that okay. So I'm gonna go back to the 15 minutes where I was. I needed the session, session to implement. I don't know why it's not implementing. Okay, so this is a demand. What we have is so possibly I could take this trade and go higher, right? But because yes, a demand is respected, but because this is coming out of Asian zone, I have to doubt it, right? So I want a confirmation. Confirmation, or might not get it. The thing with confirmation, I might not get it. It just goes the way it needs to go. But if you miss that, no problem. But just make sure that your trade, um, your trading plan and your strategy is all checked before taking a trade. So if you look at this, I will expect this is what I will want to see happen here. I want to see it down to take the Asian low, okay, then possibly high. We'll take off from there without confirmation, or we do another step this way. So this is confirmation entry. This is what I'll be looking at. So you see, so that it's similar to what we have in Euro USD. Very similar. All you just have to look out for is, okay, which one plays out more beautifully? Then I'll take that one. It mustn't take two of them. Which one plays out, more perfectly or more beautifully the way I want it to happen? I'll take that particular one and leave the other one. Or sometimes I might take two of them, but if they plays out the same way, probably if you are using a particular account size to trade at a time, you can divide it by two and use it for each one. So this is what I'll be looking at for here. And when I get to this particular point, then I want to look for a short position downwards. But ultimately, I want to sweep Asian low and sweep Asian high. Hope this makes sense. Now, let's look at gold. Okay, gold. So I did this yesterday actually. Break of structure, tap into this particular zone, break out of this range, tap into this zone because I was expecting a movement downwards and up. And from up, I wanted to come down. But what we did first was to go into this up straight away. So let us investigate. But before we do that, listen, this 30 minutes, let's go back to the 4 hours to have a clearer picture. Okay, so when the 4 hours, let's see what has been happening. Um, this is the range we drew like, I don't know, the other week. So what are we having? This is also the news candle, fair value gap. This is the region we want to get to. We're not there. We are coming from this particular zone. This should be, I have to start marking my demand zone with a supply zone with their time frame. So this should be like a 1 hour demand zone, a supply zone rather. So here we have a 4 hour. Let me actually mark it. Oh. So here we have a 4 hour supply. We have a supply here that looks as if it's been respected. And we have a demand here. Where do we have a breakout structure? We have a breakout structure here. And if you look here, I'm going to move this to this particular point because this is a high, then a low. So this also qualifies as a breakout structure, which means that my orientation for gold is to go up. I want to see it hit here. If you look this way, we had a breakout structure down. Then here we have a break this way, but it hasn't gotten to this zone, this particular zone. I would have loved it to get to this zone. Then we can say we're going lower to hit back this zone because zone good has been ranging for a while. It's been trending for a long time and started ranging. So, but within that range, we can see trades we can take. Okay, so we have here as the 2 points you can get to. We have this particular supply zone on the 1 hour that has been taken. Then we also have a supply zone, a demand zone here, and also a demand zone at this particular point. So this is not where I'm looking to take trade from. I'm looking for these places as targets. I will only consider taking trades when it gets there. So these are the targets I'm looking at. So again, we have zone gold coming from this zone, and I have an on-field zone here and on-field zone here. So if zone, I'm expecting gold to respect this and come down lower. But if it breaks above it, then we'll look for a way to trade it to this particular zone. So 4 hours analysis done. Then we'll just move straight to the 1 hour. So on the 1 hour, what am I seeing? I'm gonna remove this because it just looks like what is gonna be respected. And I'm gonna remove this. Okay. So in the 1 hour, what am I seeing? We broke out of this range here. We are in this demand zone, and a lot of price action here. It's giving me the vibes of it. So initially, I'm looking at what I'm thinking is that okay, we tap into this demand zone. Obviously, I want us to do this, right? Do this and move lower. Tap into this order supply and move lower. Okay. But then again, we're having a lot of price action here. Is not giving us like liquidity because you can see a lot of wicks coming here. So this is like a block that looks like a very strong block where a lot of price action took place. And we'll have a tiny um, a tiny fair value gap here, which makes here kind of cool to go and tap this region again, Okay, so now I am thinking before I can think of going lower, like before I can think of taking gold lower, I will want this particular range here to be broken, right? Before I can go lower. If it's not broken, I can't say because it's coming from this demand, I want to go lower. But the way I'm seeing it seems this demand um, looks kind of as if it's going to be taken. Sorry, this supply. Don't mind me. I I just interchange demand and supply. So don't not only listen to what I'm saying, but look at where I'm pointing. So the one up is supply, the one below is demand. But sometimes I just say it and I remember myself. Okay, so before I want gold to take gold, I want this to be taken out. Then I cannot say I'm going lower. But the way it's looking, we are in a supply zone. We're coming from a supply zone above, and we are coming from a demand zone below. And this demand zone clearly broke structure. You can see it here. Clearly broke structure. So this puts you in a state of dilemma. So what I can do is to just, one, I can take this trade. Two, I can just leave it since I'm not having clarity. I'm not like decision is not made, right? So what I would do is I will possibly, this is a possible movement, a movement above this way. Okay. So I have to wait because it might just get here and reverses back. So what I would do is just to wait. If I have a break again, then in this demand zone, then it means that, okay, it seems we're going to have an efficient price action. Then I can go higher. I can decide to do this now, take trade from here. So this is more like, okay, let's confirm. But then again, if I want to investigate this, okay, yeah. So we have this is a demand, this is a demand zone. This is a supply zone rather. It's a supply zone because of this. So for gold, I just wait it out. I just wait it out. I just wait for a second bounce. If I have a second bounce, then I am more, or it might not do, it might not get, it might not do a second bounce. It might just go. But then again, according to my trading strategy, I just want to wait for a second bounce from here. The pattern, what is the name? It's just simply break of structure, trade from demand and supply zone. I don't have a particular name. It's price action basically. It's just price action. It's not ICT, it's not any of those things. This is just price action. So we're looking at supply and demand, break of structure, liquidity sweep, and all that. That's why I trade by. So this is it for gold. Now let's go to, for crypto, we're going to do three coins. We'll do Bitcoin, Ethereum, and we'll do BNB. Oh, break and retest. Good. Somebody say break and retest. Fine. So for the Discord group, application is going to be opened September. If you have in my email list, you're going to receive that. I'm going to also post it in the in the Telegram group, we're going to have a new intake because I'm doing a full revamp of our training course. Anyways, back to Bitcoin. We're going to start from the 4 hours for Bitcoin. Let's see. So Bitcoin on the 4 hours, this is the demand zone I'm looking at. Okay. So let me go to the daily and tell you guys. So I said this before. If you are, attending any of our lives or maybe you're on Discord with me, that for Bitcoin, even when we are still up here, I was saying that this is the zone I'm looking at for a RASA or this particular zone. And if we reverse from this zone, I'm still bullish on Bitcoin. Even if we reverse from this zone, 82, I'm still bullish. But if you break 82, then forget it, we're in the bear market. But the way it's looking, it still looks okay. We are still good. We are retesting a demand zone here, which means we can push higher because we are retesting a demand zone, this demand zone. So let's go to the 4 hours and investigate more. If you can see the pattern I drew here, I was looking for a confirmation pattern, right? To be able to take trade from here. So we had, we can't quite see it clearly until we go lower. 1 hour now, because we're the zone we want 1 hour. So we saw the confirmation patterns. You can see a tap into the zone. So this is the confirmation pattern. We have a tap into the zone, went up, came down lower, and we finally break it here. So where do we now look to take a trade from? Let me move this. I'm going to remove this and remove this. So this is a zone we want to take a trade from, this particular zone here. Okay. This is our gap, our fair value gap. Where is it? The only issue I have here is that this is also coming from a supply zone, right? It's coming from a supply zone. So before I can take a trade here, I will also want another confirmation. Control Z. I'll also want another confirmation. So because this is a low, this is a low. So this is truly a break of structure down this way. Break of structure down this way. But again, this is also a break of structure to this side. So we are having, I want a reversal from here. So we're having, we had a break, an impulsive move, retracement, impulsive, and this is a supply zone, and we're actually coming from that demand zone, which means that we can likely break into this. If this was a no man's land, right, this would have been a beautiful trade for me to take. But because we don't have, this is not, what we have here is not a no man's land. This is a demand zone we're coming from. We want a push upward. Had it been, this actually went ahead and maybe didn't get to this demand zone and stop over here, I'll be more confident to take this trade from here without confirmation. One scenario. The second scenario is, had it been this moved from here again and now broke out of this range, or maybe broke into this range, broke past this one, I am more confident to take this trade up here. But because it's coming from this particular supply zone here is something that I have to think about. So because of that, I won't just go straight and just take a and just place a limit order and said, okay, I'm taking a trade from here, I'm moving higher. Okay, I won't say that. What I would rather say is I want to see a confirmation pattern happen here as well. Inside here, within the smaller time frame, say 15 minutes, because on the 1 hour before I take this trade. I hope this makes sense. So with this in mind, two things today: we can trade from here. If we see a confirmation, we can also trade down to this particular point. To do that, we are going to now go to the 15 minutes. I take swing trades basically on the 1 hour, and my day trade starts on 15 minutes. So what do we have here? Again, if we refine further, now for crypto, I really don't like refining my demand zone on the 15 minutes because most times it just doesn't respect it. My refining starts from the 30 minutes. Okay, so refining, um, I'll still maintain the 1 hour refinement because sometimes it just doesn't. If you're taking a limit order, it might not come to your zone, it will just go from where it is. So I'll just have to leave it this way. Then go to the 15 minutes time frame. So the idea is we can possibly come down this way and take off, or come down and break this. That is the idea, right? So it means that since we don't know what is going to happen when we get here, because we can retest it, we can break it. And to know what's going to happen, I want a confirmation. So this may repeat myself. I want a confirmation, right? What I would possibly be waiting for, even though this is the kind of confirmation already, okay, is I want to um, see how I can trade this lower. I want to see how I can trade this lower. Just the way I said that, when we're trading Forex, I said Asian high and low are not respected in Forex, but in crypto, it's not the same thing. So different assets behaves differently. Just like if you're trading USD JPY or JPY assets, you cannot say Asian high and low are not respected. Where they are not respected is when you're trading Euro USD and GBP JPY. USD card, I've not actually confirmed that, but in trading the crypto um, or JPY pairs, that particular statement does not hold. Okay, so somebody asks, well, after a trade setup, price didn't reach setup. Well, after it's okay, let me just read what this guy said. He said, after setup, a trade price didn't reach the setup a day. Are we going to cancel it? So your question is not that clear, but I think I have an idea of what you're saying. If you're saying that, what if price doesn't get to where I wanted to get you to enter the trade? Then it's simply not my trade, right? So I gave an example earlier um with Ethereum that I placed yesterday. I wanted price to get here. The price didn't get here. So I did not bother taking this trade. But price, this is the one I would have taken because price broke structure again. This one I would have taken. Now, if you look at um, Euro USD, so I've deleted what I put earlier. My target was here, but this is where price got to. But this still gave me over a 4 hour risk reward. I exited around 4 hours. It was still a very good trade. Okay, I took most of my trade out and moved my stop loss and just left it. So it was still a pretty good trade. So as a day trader, you want to, unless you are swing trading, if you're day trading, you probably want to close your trades before the end of the day. If your trading hour is between maybe by 5, me mostly by 5 or 6, I just close my trade and just rest. If not, if they're still open, probably make sure that I am not in a risk position and that I don't place my stop loss is above my entry. So even if it goes against me, I'm not losing my money. Hope that is clear. So going back to Bitcoin. So I'm looking at this zone to possibly take a short position. So for if I see another break this way, then I want to trade this to this side. Yes, it's a small position. I want to look for an order block this way, a supply above, and take this trade. If I say supply here, then I want to trade it this way. This didn't give me a risk reward of up to 3R. I would possibly not take this trade. Even if it does this, if I check it's not giving me the risk reward I want, I will likely not take it because I want a minimum of 3R to take my trade. So this is Bitcoin. Again, possible trading this way, and the other possibility is to trade this way. Okay, and with a confirmation entry at this particular point. Let's look at, you can do a risk entry 50-50. You can go your own way, it might not go your own way. If you do a 50-50, see what I mean. 50-50 is that you believe that this is going to hold. Then you take a long position from here and just target the next high, which is this particular point. This will give you a 5 risk reward. This might not hold, right? There are two opposing things. I want it to hold because we had a confirmation. It's a confirmation entry at this particular point. But the only issue I have is that this last one is coming from a supply zone, but it should hold to take it higher. Or we go to the 5 minutes time frame when we are here and look for another confirmation. Sometimes even 3 minutes, 2 minutes, you look for another confirmation. This will tell you, okay, this is going to hold up here. That is for Bitcoin. Let's go to Ethereum and see if we can have clarity with Ethereum. So Ethereum, I'm going to start from the 1 hour. And let's delete yesterday's things we marked out yesterday. So I'm just going to delete all these things. Okay, so what can we deduce from Ethereum? 4 hours. Let me go to the 4 hours. Ethereum has been strong. Let's see. We're coming from this zone. Are we gonna try to hit another all-time high? No, not well. Ethereum hasn't actually hit his all-time high. Let's see. His last it has. Oh wow. It finally did. I wasn't looking. So this is the last all-time high. It took it a lot of time, but it did hit it. So yeah, let's go back to the 4 hours. The question is, can we push higher? Ethereum looks like it wants to push higher. So we are coming from a demand zone here. Okay. Is trying to get past the supply zone we have here. So demand, a small supply here, and is really attacking this supply zone to push higher. I didn't get a confirmation to go higher, too bad, but it's okay. We don't have to cry about it. If you check, we have another another demand here. All these regions are demand. So since we're attacking this, as a matter of fact, we have created an equal high here. So equal high, it equals to liquidity. And when you have liquidity, it means it's going to be taken out. So from the 4 hours, this is the possible move I want to see happen. Okay, we go higher, we push higher. Because we created liquidity here, we have a demand below. We want to come to the demand to gather momentum and go and take out the liquidity. Then we'll go to 1 hour and see, okay, are there any, can we refine this to be better, sweeter, and all that. So this is where I want to target. This is where I want to target here, because this is the top. So I want to target here. Okay, liquidity created. Liquidity is sweet. It's like 3 touches itself. So this is okay. It's 2. This is a perfect liquidity that we have created here. Equal high. So we want a movement downwards. So we have a movement downwards, and we want to take it higher. One hour. But if you look at this 1 hour, the you can see it's an efficient move here. We saw this, it was clearer on the 4 hours that this is a demand zone. So I can actually call this. I thought I had this saved, but I can't find it here. Excuse me, let me just refresh. Sometimes this doesn't apply after some time. So I'm going to the so let's see if I think I was in the 1 hour, right? Okay. Let's see if this shows up now. Okay. So this is okay. So this is a 4 hour demand zone, right? So here we have a 4 hour demand zone because the market is not a 4 hour, right? On the 1 hour is not showing at all. Let's go to 30 minutes. 30 minutes is pretty taken. That doesn't mean we can't, we won't look at it. On the 15 minutes, let's see, it's also pretty taken. So I'm going to leave this as a 4 hour demand zone. And this is possible movement that I want to see happen here. So what this tells me is that, okay, I want to actually trade lower now. Okay, I want to trade lower to this zone. How do I trade lower? Because this is what I want to look out for. I want to look out for a long position from here. A long position from here. And I want to target these points. Okay, so it's a 7 hour risk reward. But What I'm interested in now is, can I take a trade lower? Because this can still go higher. This can still go higher before deciding to come lower. Okay? Or I can just start going lower. If you look at this, so we have a break here in this region. I'm going to change this to this. And we have another break here. And we have a break here. And the opposite side, we have a bottom. This is the bottom of this range. So look, if you look at this range, as a matter of fact, let me just use the parallel tool to draw it. So we have a low here. Okay. Okay, let me just make this high. So to trade this lower, I need to confirm that price is going lower. To confirm that price is going lower, we must see a break of this. Then it becomes a change of character. Then I can trade to this particular zone. I can then trade to this particular zone. Hope it makes sense. I think this is confusing. Let me remove this. Let me remove this. So I want this broken if I'm going lower. I want to see this broken. Then I want to look for a demand zone here, a supply zone rather, to take it lower to this point. When we get here is when I want to go higher. So this might be a possible trade for today. The last crypto I'm looking at is BNB. BNB, this was my setup yesterday, but I didn't take the trade because I wanted to take it from this particular point. I actually moved it lower. But this is a point to take it from. So the person that was asking, what if it doesn't come to my zone? If it doesn't come to your zone, it's not your trade. You look for a trade the other day. So you just follow your plan. Some days I might see a trade, some days I might not see a trade. So it's better you just follow your plan. If you try to start chasing trades, you start taking a lot of losing trade and it doesn't make sense. It's better you take 2 trades a week, maybe win two, and better you take like 3 trades a week, maybe win two and lose one, than taking 7 trades and losing like like 4 or 5 of them. Again, risk to reward ratio we target each time is 3. So even if you lose one and win one, you have actually win 2 times more than you have lost. Because if you lose one, you're losing one part. If you win one, you're winning 3. So if you take out the one that you lost, so you're just 1-2 from a particular trade. So that is the idea. We can, even if we win only 50% of the time, we are still good. So this is BNB. We're going to go back. Let me just remove this because we're no longer here. So BNB is actually telling me a different story. Even from this time frame, it's telling me that, you know what, we're moving higher. We're moving higher. So 1 hour. No, let's start from the 4 hours. I'm going to refresh this. Reload this. So back to the 4 hours. So these are possible demand to go higher, but we're actually going higher. And there's quite a number of price action here, which might be suggesting something different. On a broader view, so on a broader view, I'm saying, okay, we want to do this on a broader view, right? It makes sense to do this on a broader view because all these are small, small price action. This is the bigger move I want to see. Okay, that's on the 4 hours. The move makes sense to see this move, a swoop down and an upward move. But we can just keep going high. Again, we're not trading on the 4 hours, we're trading on the lower time frame. But this is what the 4 hours is saying. I just want to go back to the 1 hour now and see, can I do some refining? Can I do some refining? Let us see. Um, okay, so moving forward, we are coming from a demand zone. We tapped into that zone and we're moving higher. And we are also, this movement downwards, we have, this is the top of this movement downward. If you look at this downward movement, right? Up, down, up, down, up. So moving down, right? We're still here, means we can still move down more. Okay. So the movement to the upside has not been confirmed. Okay. Because for it to be confirmed, then we'll have to move above this line. Hope this is making sense, because if you look at the other way, we have actually not gone against, we have not changed character. We are still in a downward movement. So even though we're coming from a demand zone, we need to actually break this way. We need to break here to confirm that we're in upside. And it clearly, you can see that we are in a supply zone. So you can see that crypto is similar. All the crypto behaves similarly. You just have to analyze a few, and the ones that just gives you a perfect or a near perfect entry, that is the one you take. That is more clearer, that is the one you take. So from where we are, we can expect a movement downwards. We can expect movement downwards. But even if you look here, we're not seeing any clear zone to target. Apart from this zone, this particular zone is a zone on the lower time frame. So I can call this zone a, is this a 1 hour? It's a 1 hour demand zone. But this zone, I think, is in the lower time frame. But when we go lower, we're going to look at it. Let's go lower. This time around, I'm going to 30 minutes first. On the 30 minutes, this is still down the zone I'm looking for. But let's go to 15 minutes now. On the 15 minutes, this is our demand zone of yesterday. So this will likely be my target for today. So did we have a confirmation entry? Yes, we did. I said this is a confirmation entry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Yes, confirmation entry. So do we have it here? So we did. We have a tap into this zone, the little low, high, low, and this is the high, and we're going lower. So this tells me that we're going to go lower from this time frame. So what I will do now is this. I'm going to still bring, because we have missed the entry, any possible entry here. We've missed it. We'll now look for a second entry. How do you look for that? I mark this. I actually set alert on this. I'm not setting alert. So I'm going to just go ahead and put an alert here. So what I want to see is a breakout of this in a movement upward, and we can now target this low. That is just it for BNB. This will be my target. I'm already seeing a sort of demand, a supply is on above here. Okay, since I've hit a supply zone here, but for me to take this, I want this to break down this way. When it breaks down, then this will become a short position that I'll be happy to take. So this is 3.7. If we see this happen. So this is three trades, a total of six trades analyzed, three in Forex, three in crypto. Somebody's asking, when are we doing this next? We do this on Discord like every single day, almost every day. But on YouTube, it's usually Monday. So I missed last Monday because if I didn't trade on Monday because I traveled and I was on transit. So we do this again on YouTube come Monday. So what I would do is just take one coin from anybody, either Forex or crypto. So the first comment I see telling me to analyze this particular asset, I just go and do it, and that will end that today. For if you're on Discord, I'll be sharing once they clear out. I'll be sharing the screenshots, the signals for you to trade with. And congrats to the guy that passed his funded account challenge with our setup yesterday. So the first person to drop a forex pair, a crypto pair, I will analyze and we end this live. Then we'll see again next Monday. I'm not seeing any comment from Twitter. Hope Twitter people are commenting. I'm seeing, okay, I think I saw, yeah, I'm only seeing comments from YouTube. I'm not seeing Twitter. So Twitter guys, are you here? Okay, the first comment here is Solana. We're gonna look at Solana. I'm gonna analyze Solana. I'm gonna move straight to Sol. Where are we? Yeah. So this is Solana. Let me confirm that because I'm not seeing any comment coming from Twitter. Let me confirm if this is set up properly. Okay, I think the Twitter guys are not commenting. Okay. Okay, yeah, one comment from Twitter. I can see that now. I just want to be sure if comments are coming from Twitter. Let's look at Solana. It's going to give us somewhat similar stuff that we saw from other coins. So 4 hour is where I like to start from. You can see it's been quite a time I looked at Solana, but you can see they are playing out most of the stuff plays out fine. From here, we tap into the zone, we went high, we gave a confirmation. Trima is asking which channel am I in it on? It's Discord. I believe you're on Discord. Put it on Discord. Every morning, 6:30 to 8:30. Or most morning, rather. So, Solana analysis was on point. Our last analysis, we got a confirmation here, and you can see we went out from here. Currently, we are here. I would have loved that we hit this zone, but we did not. This zone here is the is a zone that I would have loved that we hit. But Solana looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. Let's see. Let me do some housekeeping. But again, we have been breaking structure. We broke structure to the upside here. This is probably a strong move. If you check here, we have been doing some liquidity sweep. So here is a sweep. It is not a break of structure. This zone is still left untapped, which suggests that if you're not careful, you can still tap into the zone and go higher. Okay. So let's go lower and investigate. These ones have been taken. We have liquidity here that is still pending. Let's see. So this supply zone was not respected. You can see it was swept. Usually when we see a sweep and not a structure break, I expect the demand below not to be respected and go lower to respect the one lower. But you can see that in fact it's coming from a no man's land, which suggests that we might still see it not respected and we might still see another sweep down and not respect this and possibly look for a demand zone lower. But the way it stands now, we are going to go here to investigate the trade we can take for Solana. We are trading between this zone and this particular zone here. This zone, I don't see it holding. I don't see this action we have here. I don't see it holding at all. I see it's going to be taken out to this zone at least. And this one possibly broken to the other side. Because why? Again, I said earlier, we had a sweep. I'm going to round up because I want to start looking for entry since I didn't place any alerts. I just forgot to do that. So what do we see here? Solana is not really respecting its zones. It's just coming from no man's land because this is the last. If you look here, the last zone we have here, this zone is not taken, this zone is not taken. So just operating widely within this zone. So I would have preferred that we have this movement still upward to this point and a possible movement down to this side. This is what I should be thinking about. Because the way it is now, there is no place for me to say I'm trading from. Why do I say this? Before I can, according to my plan, before I can choose to take a short, I want the low broken. I want the low taken out. So we have this high. I want taken out before I can look for a short position. Okay. Secondly, I want to short from a supply zone. This is the last supply we have on the 1 hour. So if this happens, right, and when I see this broken, then this is where I will take a short from this zone, right? If we see this go up to this particular point, we can use a risk entry to short from this zone, or wait for it to break lower and look for a confirmation entry to take from this particular zone. I'll just go straight to the 1 hour and see. Okay, so on, sorry, 15 minutes. So I would like to see, again, movement possibly upwards, then this. So unless I see a pattern I can trade, I won't take any trade here. This particular one, if we're going to go higher, because I have a breakout structure here, if we're going to go higher, I want to take a trade from here. But the way it is, from where it is now, I can't take trades on Solana because it's not meeting any of the criteria I want. It's either, again, it comes down to this zone, and I can go long, or it goes higher, gives me a demand, then I can go higher. Don't know if that makes sense. Or it does its things, go down, go up here, and gives me a confirmation entry to go lower. So these are the possible things I'm going to look at for Solana. So as it is now, I think it's just a waiting game on Solana for me to take a trade on. Okay, um Frank and Chima Frank, I will chat you up. I'll chat you up to attend to your queries. So that is it for today. For live classes, I'll see you guys again on Monday. Have a good trading day. On Discord, I'll be dropping the setups. Once it's clear, I'll drop the setup on the coins we've analyzed and of course the forex that we analyze and more of them. Bye everyone.